Atra-Ḥasīs Old Babylonian Retranslation. By Phil Rocko Williams. Opening note. All of the cuneiform translations I've checked have thrown up red flags. So I've been attempting to properly retranslate if I think they can be improved upon. I personally want to hear this epic history in its most accurate form, so I'm really enjoying this project. I'll continue to share the good ones as I go until I publish the full translation book. Translation 1. When the gods performed the labor in place of humankind, they bore the loads themselves. The burden of the gods was immense. The work was exhausting, the hardship overwhelming. The great Anunnaki imposed the labor sevenfold upon the Igigi. Anu, their father, was king. Enlil was their counselor and warrior. Ninurta served as chamberlain. Ennugi was controller of canals. They took the box of lots and cast them to divide responsibilities among the gods. Anu ascended to the sky. Enlil took the earth for his domain. The bolt that restrains the sea was assigned to far-sighted Enki. When Anu had gone up to the sky, and the gods of the Apsu had gone below, the Anunnaki of the heavens made the Igigi carry the workload. The gods were forced to dig canals to clear waterways, the lifelines of the land. The Igigi dug the canals. They cleared the channels, the lifelines of the land. They dug out the bed of the Tigris, and then dug out the Euphrates. Fragmentary lines concerning the deep, the Apsu, and the raising of land and mountains. They counted the years of labor. They counted the years of burden. For 3,600 years, they bore the excess load. Hard work, night and day. They groaned and accused one another. They complained about the heaps of excavated earth. Let us confront the chamberlain, and force him to relieve us of our toil. Come, let us carry the Lord, the counselor of the gods, the warrior, from his dwelling. Come, let us carry Enlil, the counselor of the gods, the warrior, from his dwelling. Then Alia raised his voice, and spoke to the gods, his brothers. Gap in the text. Translation 2. Come, let us carry off, the counselor of the gods, the warrior, from his dwelling. Come, let us carry Enlil, the counselor of the gods, the warrior, from his dwelling. Cry out for battle, let us mix fight with battle. The gods listened to his words. They set fire to their tools. They threw their spades into the fire, their burden baskets into the fire god. They flared up in anger. When they reached the gate of Enlil, the warrior's dwelling, it was night, the middle watch. The house was surrounded, and the god was unaware. It was night, the middle watch. Ekor was surrounded, and Enlil did not know. Kalkal, however, was alert. He had the gate secured. He held the lock and kept watch. Kalkal roused Nusku. They listened to the noise of the Igigi. Then Nusku roused his master, and made him rise from his bed. My lord, your house is surrounded. A crowd is running around your door. Enlil, your house is surrounded. A crowd is running around your door. Enlil had weapons brought into his dwelling. He raised his voice, and spoke to the vizier Nusku. Nusku, bar the door. Take up your weapons and stand before me. Nusku barred the door, took up his weapons, and stood before Enlil. Then Nusku raised his voice, and spoke to Enlil, the warrior. My lord, your face has turned pale like tamarisk. Why do you fear your own sons? Enlil, your face has turned pale like tamarisk. Why do you fear your own sons? Send for Anu to come down to you. Have Enki brought into your presence. Anu was summoned to descend. Enki was brought before him. Anu, king of the sky, was present. Enki, king of the Apsu, attended. The great Anunnaki were assembled. Enlil rose, and the case was presented. He raised his voice, and spoke to the great gods. Is it against me that they have risen? Shall I do battle? What did I see with my own eyes? A crowd was running around my door. Anu raised his voice, and spoke to Enlil, the warrior. The text continues. Translation 3. Let Nusku go out, and learn the word of the Igigi, who have surrounded your door. A command shall be issued. Enlil raised his voice, and spoke to the vizier Nusku. Nusku, open your door. Take up your weapons and stand before me, in the assembly of all the gods. Bo, then stand and say to them, your father Anu, your counselor, the warrior Enlil, your chamberlain Ninurta, and your canal controller Ennugi, have sent me to ask, who is in charge of this crowd? Who is responsible for the fighting? Who declared war? Who ran to the door of Enlil? Nusku opened his door, took up his weapons, and went before Enlil, in the assembly of all the gods. He bowed, then stood and delivered the message. Your father Anu, your counselor, the warrior Enlil, your chamberlain Ninurta, and your canal controller Ennugi, have sent me to ask, who is in charge of this crowd? Who is responsible for the fighting? Who declared war? Who ran to the door of Enlil? They answered him, every single one of us gods declared war. We have stopped the digging. The load is excessive, it is killing us. Our work is too hard, the trouble too much. So every one of us gods has agreed to complain to Enlil. Nusku took up his weapons and returned to Enlil. My lord, you sent me. I went and explained your message. They answered, saying, every one of us gods declared war. We have stopped the digging. The load is excessive, it is killing us. Our work is too hard, the trouble too much. So every one of us gods has agreed to complain to Enlil. Enlil listened to this speech. Cheers flowed from him. He spoke with restraint, and addressed Anu, the warrior. Noble one, take a decree. The text continues. Translation 4. Stand with me before the sky and show your strength. While the Anunnaki are seated before you, call up one god and cast him for destruction. Anu raised his voice, and spoke to the gods, his brothers. What are we complaining about? Their work truly was too hard, their trouble was too great. Every day the earth resounded. The warning signal was loud enough. We kept hearing the noise. Fragmentary lines concerning tasks and labor. While the Anunnaki are seated before you, and while Belit-ili, the womb goddess, is present. Call up one god and cast him for destruction. Anu raised his voice and spoke to Nusku. Nusku, open your door, take up your weapons. Bow in the assembly of the great gods, then stand and say. Your father Anu, your counselor, the warrior Enlil, your chamberlain Ninurta, and your canal controller Ennugi, have sent me to ask, who is in charge of the rabble? Who will take charge of the fighting? Which god began the war? A crowd was running around Enlil's door. Nusku heard this, took up his weapons, bowed in the assembly of the great gods, then stood and delivered the message. Ea raised his voice, and spoke to the gods, his brothers. Why do we blame them? Their work was too hard, their trouble was too much. Every day the earth resounded. The signal was loud enough, we heard it. Belit-ili, the womb goddess, is present. Let her create primeval man, so that he may bear the yoke. So that he may bear the yoke, the work of Enlil. Let man bear the load of the gods. Belit-ili, the womb goddess, was present. They said, let the womb goddess create offspring. Let man bear the load of the gods. They summoned the goddess, and questioned Mami, the wise midwife of the gods. You are the womb goddess, the creator of mankind. Create primeval man, that he may bear the yoke. Let him bear the yoke, the work of Enlil. Let man bear the load of the gods. Nintu raised her voice, and spoke to the great gods. It is not fitting for me to do it alone. The task belongs to Enki. He makes everything pure. If he gives me clay, then I will act. Enki raised his voice, and spoke to the great gods. On the 1st, 7th, and 15th days of the month, I will perform purification by washing. Then one god shall be slaughtered, and the gods shall be purified by immersion. Nintu shall mix clay with his flesh and his blood. Thus a god and a man will be mixed together in the clay. Let the drumbeat be heard forever after. Let a ghost come into existence from the god's flesh. Let her proclaim it as his living sign, so that the ghost may exist, and the slain god not be forgotten. They answered, yes, in the assembly. The great Anunnaki who assign destinies. On the 1st, 7th, and 15th days of the month, purification by washing was performed. Ilawela, a god of intelligence, was slaughtered in the assembly. Nintu mixed clay with his flesh and his blood. The drumbeat was heard forever after. A ghost came into existence from the god's flesh, and Nintu proclaimed it as his living sign. Translation 5. The ghost existed so that the slain god would not be forgotten. After she had mixed the clay, Mami summoned the Anunnaki, the great gods. The Ajiji, the great gods, spat spittle upon the clay. Mami raised her voice, and spoke to the great gods. I have carried out completely the work you commanded me. You slaughtered a god together with his intelligence. I have relieved you of your hard labor. I have imposed your burden upon humankind. You have given noise to mankind. I have undone the fetter and granted release. They listened to her words, were freed from anxiety, and kissed her feet, saying, We once called you Mommy. Now your name shall be Mistress of all gods. Far-sighted Enki and wise Mommy entered the room of fate. The womb goddesses were assembled. He trod the clay in her presence. She continually recited an incantation. For Enki, standing beside her, caused her to recite it. When she finished the incantation, she pinched off 14 pieces of clay. 7 she set on the right, 7 on the left. Between them she placed a mud brick. She made use of a reed and opened it. To cut the umbilical cord, she summoned the wise and knowledgeable womb goddesses, 7 and 7. 7 fashioned males, 7 fashioned females, for the womb goddess is the determiner of fate. They were paired 2 by 2. In her presence, Mommy then established these rules for humankind. In the house of a woman in labor, a mud brick shall be placed for 7 days. Belit ili, wise Mommy, shall be honored. The midwife shall rejoice in the house of the woman who gives birth. When the woman gives birth, the mother of the child shall withdraw herself. Fragmentary lines concerning maturation. A beard appears on the cheek of a young man. In gardens and along roadsides, a wife and her husband choose one another. The womb goddesses were assembled, and Nintu was present. They counted the months, and named the 10th month as the appointed term of fate. Translation 6. When the 10th month arrived, she inserted the staff and opened the womb. Her face was joyful and glad. She covered her head, performed the duties of midwifery, fastened her belt, and spoke a blessing. She drew a design in flour, and placed a mud brick, saying, I myself created this. My hands made it. The midwife shall rejoice in the house of the Kadistu priestess, wherever a woman gives birth, and the child's mother withdraws herself. The mud brick shall be placed for 9 days. Nintu, the womb goddess, shall be honored. She shall be called Mommy. She arranged the womb goddess rites, and laid out the linen cloth. When the bed is prepared in their house, a wife and her husband shall choose one another. Ishtar shall rejoice in the union of wife and husband, within the house of the father-in-law. The celebration shall last 9 days, and they shall call Ishtar, Ishara. At the appointed time of fate, she shall call. Approximately 23 lines are broken. A man, the household shall be purified. The son toward his father. Fragmentary closing lines. Translation 7. He observed, Enlil. They took up implements, fashioned new picks and spades, and dug great canals, to feed the people and sustain the gods. Approximately 13 lines are broken. 600 years, less than 600, passed. The land grew wide, the people became numerous. The land bellowed like a bull. The god grew restless at their noise. Enlil was forced to listen to their clamor. He addressed the great gods. The noise of humankind has become too much. I am losing sleep because of their racket. Give the order. Let the Serapu disease break out. Gap of approximately 3 lines. There was one named Atra-Ḥasīs, whose ear was open to his god Enki. He would speak with his god, and his god would speak with him. Atra-Ḥasīs raised his voice, and spoke to his lord. How long will the gods make us suffer? Will they afflict us with illness forever? Enki raised his voice, and spoke to his servant. Call together the elders, the senior men. Begin action within your own house. Let heralds proclaim it. Let them raise a loud cry throughout the land. Do not revere your gods. Do not pray to your goddesses. Seek out instead the door of Namtara. Bring a baked loaf before him. Let the flour offering reach him. May he be put to shame by the gifts, and withdraw his hand. Atra-Ḥasīs accepted the command, and gathered the elders to his door. Atra-Ḥasīs raised his voice, and spoke to the elders. I have called you, the elders, the senior men. The text continues. Translation 8. Begin action within your own house. Let heralds proclaim it. Let them raise a loud cry throughout the land. Do not revere your gods. Do not pray to your goddesses. Seek out the door of Namtara. Bring a baked loaf before him. Let the flour offering reach him. May he be shamed by the gifts and withdraw his hand. The elders listened to his words. They built a temple for Namtara in the city. Heralds proclaimed it. They raised a loud cry throughout the land. They did not revere their god, did not pray to their goddess, but sought out the door of Namtara and brought a baked loaf before him. The flour offering reached him. He was shamed by the gifts and withdrew his hand. The Sarapu disease left them. The gods returned to their regular offerings. 2 lines missing. 600 years. Less than 600, passed. Translation 9, Tablet 2, Obverse E. Call the elders, the senior men. Begin action in your own house. Let heralds proclaim it. Let them raise a loud cry throughout the land. Do not revere your gods. Do not pray to your goddesses. Seek out the door of Adad. Bring a baked loaf before him. Let the flour offering reach him. May he be shamed by the gifts, and withdraw his hand. Then he will cause mist to form in the morning, and at night he will slip out and make dew fall, bringing produce to the field ninefold, like a thief. They built a temple for Adad in the city. Heralds were ordered to proclaim it, and raise a loud cry throughout the land. They did not revere their gods, did not pray to their goddesses, but sought out the door of Adad, and brought a baked loaf before him. The flour offering reached him. He was shamed by the gifts, and withdrew his hand. He caused mist to form in the morning, and at night he slipped out and made dew fall, bringing produce to the field ninefold, like a thief. The drought left them. The gods returned to their regular offerings. SBVE. Not 3 periods had passed. The land grew wide. The people became numerous. The land bellowed like a bull. The gods grew restless at their noise. Enlil convened the assembly again, and addressed the gods, his sons. The noise of humankind has become too much. Sleep cannot overtake me because of their racket. Command that Anu and Adad lock the sky above. Let Sin and Nergal lock the middle earth. As for the bolt that bars the sea, let Ea, with his Lamu creatures, keep it locked. He issued the order. Anu and Adad locked the sky above. Sin and Nergal locked the middle earth. Ea, with his Lamu creatures, locked the bolt that bars the sea. Then the very wise Atra-Ḥasīs wept day after day. He carried a Masaku offering along the riverbank pasture, though the irrigation water was silent. In the middle of the night, he offered a sacrifice. As sleep began to overtake him, he spoke to the irrigation water. May the irrigation water carry it. May the river bear it along. May the gift be placed before Ea, my lord. May Ea see it and remember me, that I may see a dream in the night. When he had sent the message by water, he sat facing the river and wept. His plea went down into the Apsu. Then Ea heard his voice. The text continues. Translation 10, Tablet 2, Obverse IV. Above, rain did not fill the canals. Below, floodwater did not flow from the springs. Earth's womb did not give birth. No vegetation sprouted. People did not look toward one another. The dark pastureland turned pale. The broad countryside filled with alkali. In the first year they ate old grain. In the second year they emptied the storehouse. When the third year arrived, their appearance was changed by starvation. Their faces were covered with sores like malt. They barely stayed alive. Their faces grew sallow. They went out in public bent over. Their strong shoulders sagged. Their upright bearing collapsed. They carried a message from Atra-Ḥasīs to the gods. Before the assembly of the great gods, they stood and repeated the command of Atra-Ḥasīs. Approximately 32 lines broken. SBVIV. 600 years, less than 600, passed. The land grew wide. The people became numerous. He grew restless at their noise. Sleep could not overtake him because of their racket. Enlil convened the assembly, and addressed the gods, his sons. The noise of humankind has become too much. I am restless because of their noise. Sleep cannot overtake me because of their racket. Give the order. Let Sarapu disease break out. Let Namtar put an end to their noise at once. Let sickness, headache, Sarapu, Asaku, blow into them like a storm. They issued the order. Sarapu disease broke out. Namtar ended their noise at once. Sickness, headache, Sarapu, Asaku, swept over them like a storm. The thoughtful man Atra-Ḥasīs kept his ear open to his master Ea. He spoke with his god. and his god Ea spoke with him. Atra-Ḥasīs raised his voice and said to Ea, "My lord, the people are groaning. Sickness from the gods is consuming the land. Since you created us, you must put an end to sickness. Headache, Surapu, and Asaku." Ea answered Atra-Ḥasīs, saying, "Order the heralds to proclaim, and raise a loud cry throughout the land. Do not revere your gods. Do not pray to your goddesses." Fragmentary ritual instructions. Enlil convened the assembly again, and addressed the gods, his sons. "You are not to inflict disease upon them again, even though the people have not diminished. They are more than before. I am restless at their noise. Sleep cannot overtake me because of their racket. Cut off food from the people. Let vegetation be scarce for their stomachs. Let Adad above make his rain scarce. Below, let floodwater not rise from the springs. Let the field reduce its yield. Let Nisaba turn away her breast. Let the dark fields turn white. Let the broad countryside breed alkali. Let earth clamp shut her womb, so that no vegetation sprouts and no grain grows. Let Asaku be imposed on the people. Let the womb be too tight to release a child. They cut off food from the people. Vegetation became scarce for their stomachs. Adad above made his rain scarce. Below, floodwater did not rise from the springs. The field reduced its yield. Nisaba turned away her breast. The dark fields turned white. The broad countryside bred alkali. Earth clamped shut her womb. No vegetation sprouted. No grain grew. Asaku was imposed on the people. The womb was too tight to release a child. Translation 11. SBVV. Ea kept watch over the bolt that bars the sea, together with his Lamu heroes. Above, Adad made his rain scarce. Below, floodwater did not rise from the springs. The field reduced its yield. Nisaba turned away her breast. The dark fields turned white. The broad countryside bred alkali. Earth clamped shut her womb. No vegetation sprouted. No grain grew. Asaku was imposed on the people. The womb was too tight to release a child. 2 lines missing. When the 2nd year arrived, they had emptied the storehouse. When the 3rd year arrived, the people's appearance was changed by starvation. When the 4th year arrived, their upright bearing bowed, their strong shoulders slouched. People went out in public hunched over. When the 5th year arrived, a daughter watched her mother enter. A mother would not open her door to her daughter. A daughter watched the scales at the sale of her mother. A mother watched the scales at the sale of her daughter. When the 6th year arrived, they served up a daughter for a meal, served up a son for food. Only 1 or 2 households remained. Their faces were covered with sores like malt. The people barely stayed alive. The thoughtful man Atra-Ḥasīs kept his ear open to his master Ea. He spoke with his god, and his god Ea spoke with him. He left the door of his god, and placed his bed beside the river, for even the canals were silent. Approximately 25 lines broken. SBVV parallel. When the 2nd year arrived, they had emptied the storehouse. When the 3rd year arrived, the people's appearance was changed by starvation. When the 4th year arrived, their upright bearing bowed, their strong shoulders slouched. People went out in public hunched over. When the 5th year arrived, a daughter watched her mother enter. A mother would not open her door to her daughter. A daughter watched the scales at the sale of her mother. A mother watched the scales at the sale of her daughter. When the 6th year arrived, they served up a daughter for a meal, served up a son for food. Only 1 or 2 households remained. Their faces were covered with sores like malt. The people barely stayed alive. They took a message. They entered. They repeated the order of Atra-Ḥasīs, saying, "How long?" Large gap to end of tablet. OBV verses parallel. He Enlil was furious with the Ajiji. We, the great Anana, all of us, agreed together on a plan. Anu and Adad were to guard above. I was to guard the earth below. Where Enki went, he was to keep the chain fastened. Not to release produce for the people. Not to tip the balance. Enlil raised his voice, and spoke to the vizier Nusku. "Have the 50 Lamu heroes fetched for me. Bring them into my presence." The 50 Lamu heroes were brought before him. The warrior Enlil addressed them. "We, the great Anana, all of us, agreed together on a plan. Anu and Adad were to guard above. I was to guard the earth below. Where you went, you were to keep the chain fastened. not to release produce for the people, not to disturb the balance. The text breaks off. Translation 12. Tablet 2, obverse v. Adad made his rain pour down, and filled the pastureland. Clouds veiled, do not feed the people, and do not give Nisabas grain, the luxury of humankind, to eat. Then the god grew anxious as he sat in the assembly of the gods, worry not at him. Enki grew anxious as he sat in the assembly of the gods, worry not at him. Several fragmentary lines. They were furious with one another, Enki and Enlil. We, the great Anana, all of us, agreed together on a plan. Anu and Adad were to guard above. I was to guard the earth below. Where you went, you were to loosen the chain and set us free. You were to release produce for the people. You were to keep control by holding the balance. Fragmentary continuation. The warrior Enlil, approximately 30 lines broken. Tablet 2, obverse v. You imposed your loads upon humankind. You bestowed noise upon mankind. You slaughtered a god together with his intelligence. You must now and create a flood. It is indeed your power that shall be used against your people. You agreed to a wrong plan. Have it reversed. Let us make far-sighted Enki swear an oath. Enki raised his voice and spoke to his brother gods. Why should you make me swear an oath? Why should I use my power against my people? The flood you speak of, what is it? I do not even know it. Could I give birth to a flood? That is Enlil's kind of work. Let him choose. Let Shulat and Hanish go before. Let Erekal pull out the mooring poles. Let Ninurta advance, and make the weirs overflow. 2 or 3 lines broken. Tablet 2, obverse v. Opening square bracket ellipsis closing square bracket. Approximately 31 lines broken. The assembly. Do not listen to. The gods issued a binding command. Enlil performed a harmful deed against humankind. Catchline. Atra-Ḥasīs raised his voice and spoke to his master. Translation 13. Tablet 3, obverse I. Approximately 10 lines broken. Atra-Ḥasīs raised his voice and spoke to his master. Explain to me the meaning of the dream. Let me know its portent. Enki raised his voice and spoke to his servant. You say, I should learn it in my bed. Attend closely to the message I speak to you. Wall, listen continually to me. Read Hut, pay attention to all my words. Dismantle the house, build a boat, reject possessions and save living beings. The boat you build, opening square bracket ellipsis closing square bracket. Roof it like the Apsu, so that the sun cannot see inside it. Make upper decks and lower decks. Let the rigging be strong, the bitumen strong, to give it strength. I will make rain fall upon you here. A wealth of birds, a hamper of fish. He turned the sand clock and filled it. He told him the flood would last 7 nights. Atra-Ḥasīs received the message. He gathered the elders at his door. Atra-Ḥasīs spoke to the elders. My God is out of favor with your God. Enki and Enlil are angry with one another. They have driven me from my house. Because I always revere Enki. He informed me of this matter. I can no longer remain here. I cannot set foot again on Enlil's land. I must go down to the Apsu and dwell with my God. This is what he told me. 4 to 5 lines broken. Obverse E. Approximately 9 lines broken. The elders. The carpenter brought his axe. The reed worker brought his stone. A child brought bitumen. The poor fetched what was needed. He gathered everything. He selected and loaded aboard. The birds that fly in the sky. Cattle of Sakan. Wild animals of the open country. He invited his people to a feast. He brought his family aboard. They were eating and drinking. But he went in and out, unable to rest or sit. His heart was breaking. He was vomiting bile. The face of the weather changed. Adad bellowed from the clouds. When Atra-Ḥasīs heard the noise, bitumen was brought and he sealed the door. As he closed the door, Adad continued to bellow from the clouds. The winds raged as he went up. They cut the rope and released the boat. Obverse E. 6 lines broken. Anzu clawed at the sky with his talons. Opening square bracket ellipsis closing square bracket. The flood burst forth. The Kasisu weapon advanced like an army. No one could see another. They were unrecognizable in the catastrophe. The flood roared like a bull. Like a wild ass screaming, the winds howled. Total darkness. There was no sun. Like white sheep. Of the flood, Fragmentary lines. Anu went berserk. The gods, his sons, cowered before him. As for Nintu, the great mistress, her lips were encrusted with rime. The great gods, the Anana, sat parched and famished. The goddess watched and wept. The midwife of the gods, wise Mami. How could I, in the assembly of the gods, have ordered such destruction with them? Enlil was strong enough to issue a wicked order. Like Tiruru he should have annulled it. I heard their cry raised against me. Beyond my control my offspring have become like white sheep. How can I live in a house of mourning? My noise has turned to silence. Fragmentary continuation. Obverse IV. 3 lines broken. Nintu wailed. Would a true parent have given birth to a rolling sea, so they could clog the river like dragonflies? They are washed up like a raft on a riverbank. I have seen it and wept over them. Shall I ever cease weeping? She wept and vented her grief. The gods wept with her for the land. For 7 days and 7 nights. The storm, torrent, and flood raged. Approximately 58 lines broken. Obverse V. He sat down, provided food. The gods smelled the fragrance, and gathered like flies over the offering. After they had eaten, Nintu rose and accused them. What possessed Anu, the decision-maker? Did Enlil dare approach the smoke offering? You who did not deliberate but sent the flood. You gathered the people to catastrophe. You agreed to their destruction. Now their bright faces are dark forever. She lifted the great flies Anu had made, and declared before the gods, his grief is mine, my destiny goes with his. He must free me from evil and appease me. Obverse V. Let these flies be the lapis lazuli of my necklace, so that I may remember this always. The warrior Enlil spotted the boat, and was furious with the Ajiji. We, the great Anana, all of us, swore an oath together. No form of life should survive. How did a human escape? Anu replied to Enlil, who but Enki would do this? He ensured the reed hut revealed the command. Enki spoke to the great gods. I did it, in defiance of you. I ensured that life was preserved. Several lines broken. Enlil said to Enki, summon Nintu, the womb goddess. Let us deliberate together. Obverse V. Enki spoke to Nintu. You are the womb goddess who decrees destinies. Establish limits for the people. Let there be among them the woman who gives birth but does not succeed. Let the Pasitu demon seize the infant. Establish Ugbabtu, Entu, and Ajizatu women. They shall be taboo and restrain childbirth. 26 lines broken. Obverse V. 8 lines broken. How we sent the flood. Yet a human survived. You are the counselor of the gods. By your command I created conflict. Let the Ajiji hear this song, and praise you. Let them record your greatness. I will sing of the flood to all peoples. Listen. Colophon. End of the tablet. 3rd tablet of Atra-Ḥasīs. When the gods instead of man. 390 lines. Total. 1,245 lines for 3 tablets. Written by Ipakaya, junior scribe. Month Iyer, in the year Ammi Aduka was king.